60 and probably countywide a little bit lower. But we have to really uh, stop it. We have to really give everyone who wants an opportunity to run that chance to run. So I invited Tina Sanders, who's running for Fillmore uh, District, and I invited Veronica Golden, who's running for the Madison District. And so since Jennifer's not here, I'm not going to wait. We're going to get, there she is, walking the door. How you doing? As it come in, so Veronica, tell me, why are you running for the Madison District? Why do you think you would make a good council member?
All right. So yes, again, my name is Veronica Golden. I'm running for Madison District Council
Let's
member.
go.
So just to tell you a little bit about me, I was born and
I
raised
know
on the east side
Veronica. I
of
didn't know she was
Buffalo,
running.
Genesee and Fox,
Yeah,
to be
right.
exact.
I do.
I grew up in a single parent household where my mother worked multiple jobs just to make ends meet. I'm familiar with struggle, but I'm more familiar with hard work, determination, and perseverance. So one of the resources I used growing up was Yo Buffalo, and there I learned life skills. I learned how to do a resume. Fast forward a little bit to when I was going to ECC, I ran into one of my Yo Buffalo counselors, and he offered me an AmeriCorps position down at City Hall with the Division of Citizen Services. There I reviewed data, went on clean sweeps, did a lot of hands-on work with the community, working with different city departments. And fast forward to who I am today. I'm a wife, I'm a mom, I'm a working professional. I have my social work degree from the University of Buffalo. And in terms of impact in the community, I volunteered for Literacy Volunteers for 6 years, Girls Sports Foundation for 4 years, Stop the Violence for 2 years. When me and my husband moved into the Hamlin Park neighborhood, I volunteered there for 1.5 years just to show them a positive example of a woman who cared about them and looked like them. Other volunteer work
It's so
includes.
sexy, your beautiful face. If you turn this way, you got this camera, we got that camera that can profile you. Okay, so just because
All right. Okay.
they want to see the front, they know they got it.
All right. So other volunteer work currently includes the Erie County Youth Board, in which I've been on it for 3 years, and then I just recently joined the William Ansley YMCA. I'm a part of the Buffalo Urban League Young Professionals and Buffalo Association of Black Social Workers. So I've been involved in the community a very long time, and being a social worker with my master's degree in social work, I understand how legislation impacts funding and resources. And since I was a beneficiary of many different resources growing up, I understand how impactful it can be and how important those resources are. So I know from experience, how the impact, and I have extensive work and volunteer experience in the community, which has allowed me to know a lot of people and what concerns community members. For instance, I also go to my Black Club meetings in Hamlin Park. So I'm hardworking, I'm ambitious, I have that experience at City Hall. I'm a social worker. So with social work, there's micro, meso, macro. So right now I'm dealing more the micro, meso level, but macro is certainly community-wide issues. So it fits perfectly. I ran for Erie County Democratic Committee person twice, and I won twice. So I want to see at the table to create opportunities for youth, increase safety, and increase community development. And also because there are currently no women on the county council.
Sounds good.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, Tina, in order as you come, that's why it's best to be early. Why are you running for Fillmore? And tell a little bit about yourself, some of the things you've done, and why you running for this particular position, Fillmore Council member.
And thank you for once again letting me be on the show. My name is Tina Sanders. I'm originally from Alabama. Only child,
Get close to the mic because we're
mother,
broadcasting too.
and I have about several. I've been active in the community for years. I've always lived in the Fillmore District ever since I've been in Buffalo. Some of the things at the time from my 30+ years here is just seeing the downs of the community, little by little, being able to be in the community, working with families, and especially homicide families, young people. I organization called Number Two that we work closely with you. Do prison tours. We have a teen summit along with the women's conference every year. So being in families' homes, listening to them and hearing, and one of the worst things I can imagine is getting that phone call that a lot of our mothers on the east side of Buffalo has received about their loved one. So I'm here to bring hope, to bring the sense of wanting to have a better community. Because right now, Fillmore District feel hopeless. And it's time to bring that back. It's time to bring back the thing of being able to walk out your door and feel comfortable. You want to make your yard look beautiful again, or you want to do different things that's in your community. And I feel like we should have a walking community. We should be able to go into shops, whether it be on Broadway, Genesee, wherever it be. I remember years back, we used to have a music stand on the corner of Fillmore and Broadway. So we need to things, and I'm not knocking anything in Allentown or any of those areas, but we want what they have, and I'm sure we have something to give them as well.
That sounds good. Okay, Miss Jennifer Strickland.
Hi there, how are you? Can I get somebody? Hi, thank you. Good evening, ladies. Good evening, Buffalo. And thank you for having me here this evening. You got a question, Betty June?
No, just roll. I'm sorry, give everybody 5 minutes
Okay.
to tell us who you are, what are you involved with now, and why are you running for the seat?
Thank you very much. I'm running for Maston District Council person, but let me just correct that language. I will be your next Maston District Council person. I'm ambitious, determined, and steadfast. I've been a resident of Maston all my life, with the exception of the 4 years that I was rebellious and moved out of my mother's house and thought I'd be moving far away to Bailey District, to the Bailey area, but I went right back to Maston. I've been a homeowner for 26 years in Maston, went to school in Maston, went to school 93, 74, and St. Francis, graduated from Bennett High School, and so Maston is where my heart is, and it will remain there forever, especially if you guys elect me to office. I have a proven record of leadership in providing high-paying employment opportunities for minorities in this area, bringing over 500 jobs into Western New York at Verizon, where I retired several years ago. I have a proven track record of achievement in supporting and ensuring our children's academic success in the Buffalo Public School System. I'm rated highly qualified, highly effective with the Buffalo Public School System within New York State. Proven record of success in mentoring relationships in educational, professional, and faith-based institutions. I'm a mentor to the community. I've done corporate to community mentoring through providing educational opportunities to our public school children from the corporations. 74 was one of our focus schools a few years back, and we took a room in school 74, rebuilt it, gutted it, put washing machines and educational learning materials into the room so that our kids could do what they do. And as a Buffalo Public School teacher, of course, that's where my heart lies. I'm running in part because that's the future, and I want to make sure our children in Maston have a future. One of the other points I'll say very quickly, I haven't mentioned to too many people outside my kind of inner circle, is that several weeks ago I heard on the radio, on one of the shows, somebody was saying we got to bring the power back to Maston. We got to bring Maston back. And I've been there, like I said, over 50 years. And when I look back at Jefferson and Fillmore and so on, the businesses that were there, we really didn't own as minorities in the community. We didn't own the majority of those businesses, even in the city, on our main thoroughfares. They were not owned by people of color. So if we're going to bring Maston anywhere, we're going to bring its greatness now. And I think with the leadership skills and ability and background I have, and me not just taking no for an answer, and me just being steadfast, unmovable, always abounding in the work of the Lord, as my service that I do for God is not in vain, that I will take Maston to a place where we've never been before. My motto, my slogan is moving Maston forward, no looking back. And I just want to remind everybody who's in this season of petitioning and so on, let's do it right. Let's get it together, and remember that we should not get weary in the well-doing, women. Ladies, don't get weary in it, because God said for in due season, we're going to reap if we faint not.
Thank you. And for those who are listening via Facebook and watching via Facebook, you can type your question in and I can read it and they can answer it. And those who are listening via the radio or internet, you can call 837-1112. Okay, we're going to do it. We'll give you each 2 minutes and kind of sub-monitor your time because I don't have my watch and I can't see my time on my cell phone. So we're going to start. Anybody can jump in. What do you see as most critical issues affecting the community you want to serve, whether it's the Madison District, the Fillmore District, or the Erie County Legislature? What do you see as most critical issue that you would address as elected official?
This is Katrina Martin, Bordeaux. Again, I would like to answer that question. One of my most critical issues for Erie County will be the issues with the Erie County Holding Center.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. With that being said, I would like to address the issue of commissary. And commissary are monies that are put into a someone that is, an inmate's account, and that money is then used to purchase goods at an inflated rate at the holding center. Those funds are supposed to go back into the profit from those funds are supposed to go back into the jail for programs to benefit the inmates, but that doesn't happen right now. Right now, it goes kicked back to the sheriff's department, and basically what they're doing is buying military-style equipment, things like that we don't need. What I would like to do with those funds is I would like to address our economic issues and the fact that we have too many young people that are unemployed. I would like to extend the summer program, the summer youth program that the county has that provides jobs, and I would like to extend that program to run all year round. What I would also like to see in that program is for those monies received by those young people from the age of 14 to 20 is the program now. I would like to extend it to 21. I would like that income coming in not to affect the overall benefit from the household. So right now, as it stands, is when the kids participate in the summer youth program, they actually then rebudget that family, and they can actually receive a reduction in their benefits in relation to these programs.
Okay, it's 2 minutes.
All right.
I don't have time. So those who have, just let them know it's 2 minutes up. Okay. Jennifer, you here? You raise your hand. You're next.
Oh, no, I was saying the 2 minutes were up, but I'm fine to go there. There are several big issues. I can't even weigh one over the other, to be honest with you, that I see in the Madison District. One of them is that we need greater education as a community as to what our resources are that are available so we can indeed move Madison forward at a more rapid pace. Madison for years has been one building, one block, 1 year at a time. And we talk about, people say in the past, one block at a time, one family at a time, but no, it's time for us to move forward together. So getting the resources, not only allocating financial resources, but taking advantage of the human resources that we have in our community. We have a lot of scholars. We have a lot of super intelligent people who have skills that can come in and teach others so that we can build our own village and we can branch out and we can take care of ourselves and take care of each other, as I believe we should be doing. When we look at other districts around us and we look at their processes and their progress, it's because their villages came together and decided, let's do this. You look at Hurdle, they came together and decided we're going to build up Hurdle. They came together down in Ellicott District. We're going to do this. We're going to get together. Even Grant Street, I look at now. Grant's coming up and getting it. But our village is disconnected, and I always say we don't do better because we don't know better. We don't know better because we haven't been taught. And it takes a certain kind of leadership to help to engage the community in those resources for teaching and educating us on how to do what we need to do. Also, in loving ourselves, I got 10 seconds. Loving ourselves. We have
you self-monitoring yourself, aren't you?
Awareness. Because I'm very proud. Self-awareness, knowing who we are, is how we're going to get to where we got to get to. Because if you don't love yourself, you don't teach that about yourself and love your community and take care of your property, we'll never move forward.
Okay, so you can be the official time.
Thank
Okay, thank you. Who's next? Who's next?
So I really would like to see our small businesses in the Maston area thrive rather than just survive. Over the years, I've seen a number of different businesses open and close, and they close faster than they open. And you know, it's unfortunate because when the people who reside in the Maston district might need to shop for different things, they have to go way out to the suburbs or to other area neighborhoods, and we should have those goods and services provided right there in the Maston district. There's something called social determinants of health. So, you know, it all plays a role. Everything is interconnected. So if you have to drive further out to, go and get a toilet tissue, then, you're spending more time doing that stuff. You're more stressed out, your high blood pressure going up. Everything is interconnected with the grocery stores we go to, the schools we send our children to, where we live. It's all interconnected. But more businesses in the Maston district will be better for our community to generate revenue. And going along with that, more bus shelters in the Maston district so that people who want to be more environmentally friendly and catch the bus, or if a person can't afford a car and they need to catch the bus, there should be a bus shelter for them to have a seat while they wait. There's no bus shelter across from Tops on Jefferson. So things like that. But part of my motto is restoring the golden age of Maston. And like it was said, there used to be a ton of businesses and organizations along Jefferson and within Maston. So getting back to that era.
Right. Are we sure the phone line's working because nobody called in? I feel all these beautiful women here and running for these powerful offices. Somebody be calling in. Hey, y'all call in 837-1112. We drove through all this snow to make sure we kept our word and had that we'd be on the radio today. So come on, call in 837-1112. Facebook. We're taking questions, and they said, Tina, you're okay, Jennifer. You're close. So Katrina and Tina, you need to just speak a little bit louder, okay? Yeah, from the Facebook crowd. Okay, Miss Tina Sanders running for Fillmore.
Yes, Fillmore United. Fillmore United. There's several things in the Fillmore district that need to be addressed, but some that's at my heart is the homicides. Being there, building more of a relationship with the community and law enforcement that we can get some of these homicides resolved. Also, the thing that when we talk about our youth and we talk about different things in the Fillmore district, there's nothing in the Fillmore district for people to do. And when I say nothing, I mean nothing. Crucial has been closed for however long.
Crucial's closed? I didn't know that.
It's not operating at this moment. So we don't have anywhere for our kids to go, but we complain about them being on the corner. We complain about them just hanging out, nowhere to go. The thing of it is, we got to unify. We got to bring unity back into the community. Like I said, I've been in this several years, and I know raising my children, the community stepped in. I'm a single mother as well. The community stepped in. We need to get some of those old values back, put it back into the neighborhood, love on each other, because we don't love on each other no more. You don't know anything about your neighbor next door to you because we don't even speak now. So the thing of bringing it back, putting some more unity, building up the neighborhoods. What's wrong with any street, any of our main streets, having a nice, attractive sidewalks, garbage cans. Some areas have garbage cans in their community. You look around Fillmore, have you seen any of those green garbage cans? It's just things that we as Fillmore need to come together and make some noise about, saying that we want these things. The other part of this, when you elect me to be your Fillmore council person, I'm going to be accessible. I'm going to have an office in the community. You're not going to have to go through the chain gang to get me. I will be there. My number will always be the same. It's not such thing as you cannot get me because I work for you and not for myself. So the thing of pulling the neighborhood back together, putting resources in the neighborhood, what streets that we have 1 and 2 houses on, that don't even make sense. And then the whole dynamics of how the Fillmore unit is designed. It's a setup. And we all know that. It's time to get what we want, work with each other, to have a powerful legislature, working together, building things up in our community. It's all about teamwork. What's the point of my legislator being there? We can't work together and build the neighborhoods up. We have to build a relationship at the top in order to take care of our people.
Okay, I'm gonna ask the question since we ain't got nobody participating via home, so I'm gonna ask the question myself, so y'all might want to know the answer too. And then I'm gonna go around. I'm gonna just think about the question. For Tina, I want you to talk about my pet project in the Fillmore District. If I were running for council member, would be redevelop the area near the central terminal. Also, I would talk about the Broadway Market, how we can make that a national attraction. It is during Easter, but not all year. So I want to talk about the central terminal, how we can redevelop the area, including the central terminal and the Broadway Market. Jennifer and Veronica, I want you to talk about, I think the pet project, people talking, it would be the redevelopment of Jefferson Avenue. What can we do? We know we have new houses over there, but houses, do not put money in those merchants' pockets who are still there. What do you see for the redevelopment of Jefferson Avenue beyond the rehab housing, beyond the affordable housing, beyond the banks, and what are they putting there? What do you see that's going to really make a difference in the Madison District regarding Jefferson Avenue? And Katrina, yours would be going on the sheriff, like you said. What will you do to ensure that people, when they are held, they have not been arrested, but they're held in the holding center, that they're not treated as criminals before they get their day in court? What will you do? And also, what will you do to increase the minority and women? And I say women with a kind of a twist, because women have always worked in county government, but it have not necessarily been black women entrepreneurs, black women contractors. So what will you do to increase the number of minority, particularly African American, female and male, in the workforce development of Erie County? Okay, so who wants to go first? Okay.
Wow, the redevelopment of Jefferson Avenue, which is something I've been focusing on since, I opted into this
Oh, we got a
endeavor.
phone call? Oh, I'm sorry.
Oh, okay.
Could you hold that phone? I just remembered. Okay, call, I apologize. You're on the air.
Well, thank you, Debbie Jean.
Call, you're on the air.
Question. In fact, I even have
I can
my
hear.
family members, this family that has some business right across from the central terminal. So all of this is very resonant. But the Buffalo News a couple of weeks ago ran an article on recruiting women for these offices to be stepping stones into higher offices. And when you read the article, they were looking for a specific profile, which I won't get involved with today on this show. But I was wondering if any of these fine young ladies were approached by any of these groups that were referred to by the Buffalo Evening News. And if they do get involved in politics by elected office, are they planning on moving into a higher office? And I'll hang up and listen. Thank you, Betty. Have a nice night, Betty Jean.
Thank you, you too. And you want to answer just rephrase the question and answer it, because you got the earphone.
Okay, so it looks like the gentleman's question is, are any of the ladies that are here today, are they working with any of those groups that the Buffalo News mentioned in the article last week? And if any of the women here are potentially starting in a lower office with an ambition to seek a higher office? That's the question.
You can answer since you.
Okay. No, I was not approached by the particular women's, the particular group, but I did attend a session. And during that session, basically what they did is they went over, petitioning things to do to get on the ballot and not to do to get on the ballot, things like that. And it was good advice. As far as ambitions to run for a higher office, I don't have any ambitions to run for a higher office at this time. But if there is a need for a qualified, quality candidate, that cares about the community to run for a higher office, then if I'm asked by the people, as I was asked to run for county legislature, then I would run for the higher office in the future if the community wants me to.
Okay, who's next? In response to the question, no, I'm not directly affiliated. However, as a local author, writer, and journalist, I am affiliated with the Buffalo Association of Black Journalists, who, of course, comprise a lot of the minority employees of the news and other organizations. And I have to say that I was given a really good piece of advice the other day from Rod Watson, who was the president, who said, I put them in a kind of compromising position as a journalist, because the first time they've had a journalist, one of their members run for political office, and as we know, we'll all probably be invited to their great debate. I can no longer sit on that in that meeting or anything, simply because it would put me at an unfair advantage, which I understood. So I do highly respect everything that the media does put forward, the recommendations and so on. And as a journalist, I take heart with it, but I want to share with everybody who does wonder, I am no longer, during this campaign season, part of the Buffalo Association of Black Journalists.
Okay. And who wants to answer?
I find it a little crazy that the local Democratic Party is willing to promote a female for president of the entire United States, and yet they're a little scarce on the local level. So, that's something I would like to see a difference in. And then in terms of long-term running for office, I'm all about long-term planning. However, running for office is a very big challenge. And it's twofold. The first part is actually making the ballot. And then you can, run and make meaningful impact in office after that. But first you have to make the ballot. So I'm not looking towards what's, after that. I'm just looking towards making the ballot and winning on primary.
No, I haven't been approached by anyone, and same here. The focus right now is really making the ballot, winning primary, being out there, boots on the ground, getting what we need to do for now. I have not thought about moving forward to any higher office, because my focus right now is just making Fillmore District council person and being the best at it.
Okay, thank you. Back to the question I had about the redevelopment of Jefferson Avenue.
Redevelopment of Jefferson Avenue, it goes back to what I started with in the initial conversation this evening, that Jefferson, when it was developed before, they were businesses owned by the minority community. When we talk about, for me, it's development of Jefferson Avenue as a community that is for us, by us, and operated by us, so on. So I would like to see it happen by making use of the Northland workforce, the Northland workforce training center.
You got commercials at the, you don't want found one? You don't want, where you going? Which one you playing? I'm putting it together now. All I need here is a song. No, I mean,
so it's not only
you built a new one? Yeah. No, you didn't.
So that more resources can be in the community.
What you doing? Just sitting here? Waiting for a ride.
Stores, businesses, whether they're hair salons,
Donald, I went
into doctors and lawyers, offices, etc., that we invest in ourselves so that we can reinvest in the community. As I said before, take advantage of what we had. So not only having the corner store,
they can hear you on Facebook, so you can talk to them about it.
Not only having what I often refer to as the corner store tops, because I think we really got shortchanged with that tops. We know space was a consideration, but not only having that, but having a supermarket there where you see really us operating it. My vision from the first year in Tops, I did see minorities the first year at that store operating every aspect of it, and then I slowly started to see us fade away in the management positions. So we need to, number one, monitor what's going on so that we can make things happen differently. The corner of, I believe it's Laurel and Jefferson, back to almost Best, not quite Best, or Dodge, that's just
He
devastation.
said he got
And
somebody
there
coming.
used to be a lot going on there. There was the fast food restaurant. There was the banquet hall. I think it was Haji Temple. There was a lot going on back in the day, and those were businesses that were operated by us, but they just went, defunct, and nobody's picked up the banner since then. So again, I say we have to train ourselves, take advantage of what's here, and then take that and don't take it out to the suburbs, but bring it back into our community and reinvest. And we appreciate things better when we've built it. Habitat for Humanity, wonderful program.
Now we got the 2 minute buffer.
Oh, I'm
right?
sorry. I didn't put it out for myself. I'm sorry, y'all. Sorry.
That was a long 2 minutes. Okay, who's next?
So what do you want to see for Jefferson?
Yes.
With the city council, I'd love to see the Maston district, working along with the small businesses, the new businesses that will be opening to, have those permits and have whatever the business needs to actually open, but actually giving the tools to sustain as well. So there are a couple, thriving businesses on Jefferson that I patronize a lot, including Eat Spot and Jamaican Place that's in the GRT Plaza. But so it's important that the Maston leadership also patronizes those businesses that are in the Maston community, including on Jefferson. And other things, I would like to see minority contractors working on some of these major projects on Jefferson. So People Inc. is being built right now. I know Northwest Bank, where my campaign account for Friends of Veronica Golden is, that was recently built as well. And just making sure that there's accountability for minorities to be working on these buildings and getting paid, because there is a MWBE committee that is comprised on the county council. So
It's not effective. So I'm gonna ask both of you, and I hate to say it. Northwest Bank was built with very little African American presence. I'm talking about minority contractors. We saw the guy holding the flag. We saw the job that anybody could have done, but we didn't see those skilled apprentices. We didn't see those journeymen. We didn't see that. So what will you do if any projects in the future, and once you're elected, both of you or one of you, what will you do to ensure that minority contractors have a chance to work? Because if they can't work in Jefferson, they can't work in Buffalo, they can't work in the Madison district, they're not going out to the suburbs and work. So what will you do when you go by and see a project that doesn't have that level of participation that we believe that's not, it's 25 and 5%, 25% minority, 20% minority, 5% women. What if you don't see that? What will you do?
And I think first up is restoring the MWBE committee. That would be a start, to make sure that there is a vehicle for audits and accountability on these major projects. But it also takes collaboration and relationship building. So knowing who those major players are, who have the workers. Northland is right down the street. There are, a lot of people who are getting trained to do these types of jobs. And so they should be given the opportunity right around the corner on Jefferson when the major projects are being built.
Jennifer, briefly, what do you do?
I think it goes back to awareness. We're not at the table, I think, because a lot of times the contractors don't even know that there's a seat at the table where they should be seated. And I think that if we, as a council member, I would, as soon as I know there's a project that's going to happen, I don't care if it's in 2 years or 10 years or 20 years down the table, and city plans are open to the public, I would go and I would look at the plans as we do so often and say, this is coming up. I need my folks to get to the table. This is when the bids are going in. Make sure that information is out to the community so that the MWBEs will know what's going on and know when to take their seat and to do what they need to do to get the contract.
Thank you. And Tina, you want to talk about Broadway Market and the Central Terminal area?
Broadway Market. I think that Broadway Market should not be just an Easter place. I think it should be because that's what it really is. You always hear about it at Easter time, and no other time nobody's running to the Broadway Market. And I think we're bringing more into the market to draw more people to it, but it can be a year-round thing. But and not just the people that's down in the southern part of the past Broadway market, but bring all parts of the city into the Broadway market. And that means bring a different type of businesses in the Broadway market that will draw the people. So I see, and it's amazing that you were asking me, because that was my thought process about the Broadway market, and that's not just the Eastern location, but a year-round location. And as far as Central Terminal go, oh my goodness, I roll all through there, and just to see like behind the walls of how people are living in the different aspects back there by Central Terminal. That's such a beautiful place, and it's a landmark. We have to bring something back to them. I think it needs to be back to the table about the Central Terminal. Let's do something with it and stop complaining about what the dollars is going to cost to get it up and functioning as a place, and it's a historical location.
Okay, great. Okay, we're talking about the people who are treated like criminals who have not even been charged.
Yes, and the workforce. So the one of the first things that I would do, and I pretty well laid it out in WBFO, I think that's the publication that contacted me in relation to the India Cummings case, and I laid it out pretty well from speaking about the need.
For those who don't know India Cummings case, briefly.
India Cummings is a young lady that was arrested, was taken to the holding center, and met her demise after being in the holding center for approximately 17 days, where she was neglected and she did not receive treatment and care. And I'll tell you right now, it's pretty difficult for a 27-year-old healthy individual to meet their demise, especially in the manner in which she met her demise. So one of the first things that I would do is introduce legislation to not only have a citizens review board, but the citizens review board must have subpoena power. Until we can hold those that have authority over our lives, once we're in those situations, accountable, then we will be hard pressed to change those things. So that's something that I think that needs to be done immediately. Workforce. Well, number one, as far as workforce, what I would also do is introduce legislation in our Fight for 15 effort to pay a livable wage. It is not fair that the ECIDA gives tax breaks and gives incentives to developers, but does not hold. We're not holding to a standard of a living wage. Also, I would make sure that Title VI is enforced, so all of our community and people in need can actually work these jobs. And when we speak about minimum requirements, we need to think beyond those minimum requirements. A city like Oakland is an example. Oakland had a minimum requirement. They met 30% of minority participation. That's something that we need to do. I would also look to the marijuana industry and our equity stake in that marijuana industry. And I think one of the best things that we can do to bring equity is to actually have a marijuana co-op. And those fees that are required are like $200,000 right now to just get in the door. Those fees should look more like fees for a liquor license. You go into a liquor store has a product for $5, okay? But the liquor store can also have a product in there for $500. So I'm really not understanding at this point the justification for such a disparity, other than to keep minorities that have been historically impacted out of now the promise and the equity. So that's something that that we need to do.
Okay, we got about 10 minutes. So I'm gonna give each of you 2 minutes. I'm gonna ask you a question. What is your position on the legalization of recreational marijuana? We're not talking about medicinal. We're talking the legalization of adult marijuana. What is your position, and why do you have that position? Who wants to go first? 2 minutes each.
I'll answer.
Jennifer, put your timer on.
I'll answer that question just because I'm on the mic, and I just closed speaking about marijuana. I am in favor of recreational marijuana, for it to be legalized. I have been for years. I've been an advocate for it for years. I went to Albany to fight for it with Crystal people, so I have a track record of of understanding and knowing this issue. So I'm all in favor of legalization, but at the legalization and decriminalization for recreational and medicinal use. But like I said, with the fees, it is being rolled out inequitably. So we need to make sure that we protect our equity stake and the interest that our community has in something that we've suffered from for many, many years.
Okay, now another question I would say, do you believe that there should be a designated funding revenue where that money should go, or should it go into the general fund? Because right now, like the lottery, it didn't go into general, it went to general fund, and so education had absolutely nothing because of the lottery.
Right.
How can you ensure that this revenue from marijuana will go into a place that's going to help to alleviate some of the impact that the illegal marijuana has done in our community?
It has to be earmarked. We have to say what we're going to do with the money before we get the money. You know, we can't just tax revenues and just have it up in the air and it's a free for all. Because right now, what you see is there are actually the forecast is that they're going to spend that money improving the transportation system in New York City first and foremost. When we have a transportation issue here in Erie County, so with our projection is to have light rail out to the suburbs.
Okay,
so we need to think about bus.
Okay. And who's next?
My position on the legalization of adult marijuana, I think it should be legal. I think primarily because for years we've been the victims of it's illegal. When it's illegal, we've been the ones who've been arrested, as we know, for the tiniest amounts and so on. And that's been on the records of our young men, young women for years. And they have spent years, I can imagine what the number of years altogether total would be for the amount of incarceration time we spent on smoking weed or some little piece of weed. I'm glad that Mayor Brown has made the decision for our law enforcement not to make arrests for a certain amount of having weed on them. But I think that just like alcohol and tobacco, as Sister Martin said, that it should be legal because both of those intoxicants, I might say, have drugs inside of them that can kill you. And I don't know of anybody, and I'm transparent, I smoked weed back in the day, and it never killed me, and I don't think it killed any of my brain cells. But thank God for Jesus, I don't smoke anymore. But I think that people who want to smoke a little recreational weed in their home and so on, if they're caught smoking on the street and their car is waving and so on, that they get wavering, they get pulled over just like somebody who has to take a breathalyzer test. Find out if they're impaired and they don't need to be driving. Receive the same consequences, the same sentences if they're legal as with alcohol. So I think it should be legalized.
Okay, who wants to answer that?
I'm in favor of Black and brown people not being stripped of their livelihoods due to marijuana. So for that reason, I'm in favor of them making it legal and no, okay, that's it.
I can come back to you if you want to.
Yeah,
Okay,
one more thing I wanted to say, but I forgot it.
Okay, well, I'll come back to you if you have time.
Yes, I'm definitely in favor of making it legal because, as we know, one of the things that you ran so hard on our East Side sprint was the pulling over, the traffic stops, the checkpoints, and they would find the least little thing of marijuana in the car and they putting handcuffs on it, and they tearing the cars inside out for just this one. They looking for a seed or whatever, and it don't even have to be the whole anything a seed. So yes, I'm all for it, and absolutely put the money where it should be before we even start getting the money. So there won't be no questions asked. We ain't got to be guessing where the money is going, and we know where it's going from the beginning.
Absolutely. Okay, back your thought, Veronica.
She touched on what I was going to say, but and the state of the city, Mayor Brown did say that he was trying to, take away the whole police arresting people for small amounts of marijuana. So that is a good thing. And so the thing that I was gonna say is I don't smoke weed, and even if it becomes legal, I'm still not gonna smoke it. So
Amen.
I think each person has to think for themselves and their morals and their values. New York State legalizing it does not, make you a sinner.
Right.
It does not, make you any less of a person.
Right, and I would say Assemblywoman Majority Leader Christopher Stokes has been very adamant saying that money must be designated to go into an area that's going to impact the area that has caused our community to suffer by the sale of illegal drugs. I'm glad she's done that. Also, I'm glad she's talking about not having all that revenue going to New York City for their transportation, MRTA, because, we have needs in Buffalo, and if we're going to be buying it, then certainly revenue should be going. I would like to see, and I hope you would work with the assembly person to support her in the effort. I would like to see that designated fund, I'm thinking big, to replace our water, our lead pipes, because we're never going to get those fixed with the probably a couple $1 billion it's going to take. So why not just use that? Because we know our lead pipes are collapsing, and that's causing some of the water to be lead contaminated. That part of it, and because you're going to need a lot of water to grow the hydroponic marijuana.
Hydroponic.
Hydro what? Hydro.
We got a question on Facebook about the abandoned property in the fruit belt. If one of them want to talk about it.
The fruit belt. So there will be Katrina because these are Madison District fruit belt. Okay, Mrs. First District Legislator candidate.
Hello, I'm listening.
It's on Facebook. It's a question on Facebook.
Oh, it's a question on Facebook. I thought it was a call.
So you want to talk about the abandoned property, the one that Councilman Pridgen has been identified, and those who have not been identified. What will you do to make sure those property are taken care of?
Well, what I would do is I would work with my partners in government in the city of Buffalo, because those are under the jurisdiction of the city of Buffalo. So what I would have is an open door policy, and as a registered nurse, I'm used to addressing issues. You don't have to have the answer to every issue. What you need to know is how to direct people, right? You have to know how to direct people to get what it is that they need. So I can promise this community, when you bring an issue to me, whether it is a county legislator issue or not, I'll make sure that it hits the right ears and that the issue is addressed. And if it's not addressed, you come back to me, and then I'm going to go back to them.
Sounds good. 1 minute closing. We're going to start 1 minute. We're going to start with Veronica, timer Jennifer, and you time.
All right. So, yep. I want to remind you all that my name is Veronica Golden. I am running for a Madison District Council member. The day was yesterday that started giving signatures. And so I hope that when I come to your door, you will sign for me, because can't run if I don't get on a ballot. But I am passionate, I am educated, I am qualified, and I want to decrease incidences of homicide, increase community development, and increase opportunities for our youth.
Thank you, Jennifer.
Thank you. I am operating, I'm a woman who operates with my love of people, principles, and processes. And I think it's so important that we know the processes that have been developed because of the principles that we have. I love for our city, I love God, I love the country, so on, and that people know their processes. I am, as I said before, ambitious, determined, and steadfast, and I'm running on a platform to educate, to encourage, to empower, and to eradicate things that have plagued our community for so long.
Thank you. Tina?
The thing that I stand on, that, like she said, we started petitions yesterday. You know, the weather has not been our friend. I've been a petition. So please, if you hear my name or my stuff at your door, please consider, even if you would like to volunteer, please reach out to us. We have a Facebook page, Committee to Elect Tina Sanders for Fillmore District. Also, that we have an event coming up, a fundraiser, March 7th at Club 77 from 6 to 8 p.m. March the 7th, which is a Thursday.
The address? Isn't it Broadway near Bailey?
Broadway and Bailey,
Okay.
right next to the Chinese restaurant. Okay. And as far as from it's time to build a better Fillmore, maximize on what have been done, move forward, work together with the legislator, and building things together. Not saying that it wasn't there to work, because Barbara Miller was a great person, but we don't know if our councilman reached out to work with him. My knowledge is never was a plan for Fillmore in how many years. It's time to make a plan. It's time to make some changes. It's time to move forward and make Fillmore what it's supposed to be.
Thank you. Trina?
Okay. I will close it out by introducing myself again. I'm Katrina Martin Bordeaux. I'm running for Erie County Legislature, District 1. I have a proven track record of advocating for this community. I have a proven track record of getting things done. I would call for staffing ratios for our skilled nursing facilities in relation to the demises that have taken place there. I would also introduce legislation for a commuter tax for those that live outside of the city that work inside of the city, because there's an inequity in relation to county jobs. I would also fight for programs to re-educate the community in relation to childhood asthma, which plagues a large part of my community. My infant mortality and morbidity rate is 3 times higher in the African American community than any others. Okay, all right.
Thank you.
Couple
Thank
more
you.
seconds and Betty Jean Grant.
Thank you for that.
Okay, where am I? Okay, Betty Jean Grant signing off, and I'll see you again next Wednesday. We're Women Warriors. We're going to have the school board at large candidates here. We got about 7 running for at large, and we got 6 districts seated, all on the ballot this year. But we won't have them all. We're going to have about 5, okay? First 5 will call me. And I'm tagging Crystal People Stoker, our Southern woman. She wants to be tagged. We did it. So, on that note, Betty Jean Grant signed off on We Are Women Warriors. I'll see you next week on A Radio Revolution. Thank you for coming, everybody. Thank you.
For the last half hour, you've been listening to A Radio Revolution with We Are Women Warriors. Join We Are Women Warriors Wednesdays at 7 for conversations about issues that are important to your life. That's We Are Women Warriors with your host, Betty Jean Grant, right here on Power 96.5, Next 1080 WUFO.
Serving North Tonawanda, Lackawanna, and Cheektowaga. Power 96.5 FM, WUFO, Amherst, Buffalo.